13 investigates tonight why some daycare centers do not have to follow the same laws as others. It is truly a daycare divide. Our 13 investigates reporter Jeremy Brilliant tonight on the push to change the law and the risks for you, the parent, as well as your children.
It's a daily ritual for Juan Cardenas. A few quiet moments between father and son.
Doesn't matter what I'm doing, I always leave time for him.
Juan Carlos was just 22 months old when he drowned.
For me, I put his body in there, but I know he's with God.
His death just a few months ago happened at a daycare run by Praise Fellowship Assembly of God Church, where somehow he walked out of his cafeteria through at least 2 unlocked doors, up these steps, and ended up in this baptismal pool in the sanctuary, which was filled with 2 feet of water. Daycare workers lost track of him for at least 1.5 hours, according to this Department of Child Services report obtained by 13 Investigates.
I was so mad.
Who are you mad at?
The people that were watching my son.
The problem, apparently no one was watching Juan Carlos. Even at some daycare centers, 13 Investigates discovered watching children isn't mandated.
For me, church and daycare, I thought was a good thing. I didn't know, the rules.
And there aren't many rules. In Indiana, only fire and building code standards are required to operate a child care ministry. Since Praise Fellowship is considered a ministry, not a licensed child care center, even the most basic supervision of children, having an adult in the same room with children or even an earshot, isn't required under Indiana law.
Because when I send my child to a daycare center, I expect that they're going to be supervised.
You assume that that is the minimum standard of care you're going to receive.
But not at ministries.
It's not required.
Unlike licensed daycare centers, which have to follow hundreds of rules, daycares with a religious affiliation are essentially unregulated. The difference was lost on Juan, who thought any daycare, and especially at a church, would follow strict guidelines.
I thought he was going to be safe in there. I thought they were going to follow the same rules any other daycare.
It's absolutely unacceptable that we live in a state where the lack of regulation allows that sort of thing to happen.
Republican State Senator Beverly Gard tried unsuccessfully to change the law after a 2008 incident when a television fell, crushing and seriously injuring a 3-year-old girl at a Greensburg daycare ministry.
It was so watered down and so nothing that it wasn't worth even dealing with.
And Democrat Vanessa Summers proposed legislation in 2010, but decided to drop it, citing outside pressures from one of the strongest lobbying groups in Indiana.
Hi there, Mr. Miller. Jeremy Brilliant with Channel 13. How are you doing?
Both lawmakers, several others, as well as child advocates, cite this man, Eric Miller, and his conservative Christian lobbying group, Advance America, as the reason all daycare ministry-related legislation has failed.
Sir, there have been several proposed laws, and you've stood up against them.
This is improper for you to try to stop somebody on the street.
13 Investigates trying to arrange a sit-down interview with Miller. He didn't respond to multiple requests, so we caught up with him outside his downtown office.
We support continued freedom for churches and their ministry.
But I'm not talking about freedom. I'm talking about minimum regulation. Right now in the state of Indiana, supervision is not required at a daycare ministry. Don't you think that's a problem?
If you start requiring guidelines for church child care ministries, you'll require the same thing for Sunday school, vacation Bible schools, and we believe that's inappropriate.
So even basic minimum regulation you think is unnecessary?
We have basic minimum regulations, Jeremy.
I'm talking about supervision.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Eric Miller is so strong and his lobby is so strong, it's prevented any of this legislation from moving forward.
Yes, sir, it has. Yes, sir, it has.
Separating church from state is often a reason given to try to keep government out of any kind of religious-run child care. But the two are already very closely connected, and it has to do with funding. Over the past 5 years, more than $100 million in federal aid has been given to Indiana ministries just to pay for daycare.
Sometimes regulations are awkward. Sometimes we get it wrong, and we have to change them. And we should do that. But just simply not having them is ludicrous.
I-S-I
Regulations are in place at Daystar Childcare on the east side of Indianapolis.
Would you like a drink? Yeah. So the most that they have in here is 12 with 3 teachers.
Though a ministry run by Englewood Christian Church, they follow almost all of the rules of a licensed center. And that, Pastor Michael Bowling says, is the way it should be.
Pass some basic legislation that protect children.
But leaving things the way they are now?
Not an option.
It's impossible to know if added regulations would have prevented the death of little Juan Carlos, but his father argues something needs to be done.
My life is never going to be the same. I don't think it's fair. It's not fair for me, and it's not fair for all the parents out there, you know, like...
Because this could happen again.
It's going to happen again if they don't follow the same rules.
That was Jeremy Brilliant reporting. Now, a small number of child care ministries are following expanded safety guidelines voluntarily. We explain the Pass Equality program, and you can check to see if a daycare is taking part on our website. Just go to WTHR.com. Go to Daycare Divide and look up your particular city. Now, tomorrow on Eyewitness News at 5 o'clock, we're going to show you how that program works, also how it makes choosing a facility a little easier for you, the parent.